Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again. Welcome back to Big Mike Talks, where today going to be talking about the week that was in pro wrestling. Definitely a very crazy week because we got our first Monday Night Raw. That was only 2 hours since 2012, which that's been a very long time. AEW Dynamite being on a Tuesday, preempted by Major League Baseball, and a very strange NWA Power covering NWA 76. So, gonna go through all of that for today, and we'll see where we stand as we start off with Monday Night Raw. Start off with a rundown of the card for Raw for tonight. And then Sexy Red introduces the show. St. Louis native. Pretty entertaining rapper, I guess. I don't know. I've never heard any of her songs. And she introduces Raw. Great start to Raw, guys. You got a limited time, and you're wasting it on this. Anyway, then we get a Bad Blood recap, recapping CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. We then see CM Punk. He is limping his way to the stage. Does not make it to the ring, which is very interesting. Still selling the effects of Hell in a Cell. And then we get an on the ramp promo from him, saying, is it good to not be dead on a Monday night or what? Kind of a twist on his new catchphrase, which has it been great being alive on Monday night or what? So, nice little touch there. Basically saying, I've been through hell, and I am really no condition to be here tonight. It hurts me to smile, but I had to see you guys. I'm alive, but I don't feel like it. I'm a winner, but I really don't feel like it. It doesn't feel like I won this match. The match left me with a lot more questions than answers. I'm banged up really bad, and I just don't know if I'm going to make it back. I want to thank 3 groups of people here tonight. My fans, my ride or dies, who make the signs, who have been chanting my name since before I got back. I want to thank you. And the minute I didn't think I couldn't pull all this off, but thanks to you, I can. Secondly, I want to thank my peers. It was a privilege to walk the halls with you. A joy to work with most of you. A little jab at Drew McIntyre and maybe some others. And the third people are the people who don't like me. Turned your hate into cash. I don't know why you keep doubting me, but keep it going. I don't know when the next time I'll see you all, but I'm going to do my very best to get back. Puts down the microphone, goes to leave. Seth Rollins' music hits. They kind of stare past one another. Punk heads to the back. Seth heads to the ring, where we have a Seth Rollins promo. He says, Punk, you better do the right thing. After everything you've went through, get well soon. Because once you get back, I'm going to make sure your career ends. So, we're probably getting Seth Rollins versus CM Punk at some point. There are rumors going around Punk's going to be scheduled for Survivor Series, in which I don't know if he's going to be involved in a match or if he's going to just gonna pop up again like he did last time. Anyway, Seth Rollins continues. It's been a while. I've been gone a while since I got back. I've seen everything is going crazy around here. We had Dom up in a shark cage. The final boss is back. And Cody Rhodes is teaming with Roman Reigns. But I'm not worried about any of that. I'm back to destroy Bronson Reed. And Reed, he's clearly not here tonight. But I know you're watching. So he kind of gets close to the camera. "2 months ago, you tried to end my career. You're going to try to make a name up for yourself off of me? Well, it's time to get famous, big boy. I'll give you your 15 minutes. You name the time and the place. But this time, I'll be expecting you." So, a Bronson Reed Seth Rollins program. I'm definitely here for it. And as he's getting ready to leave, out comes Jey Uso, our Intercontinental Champion. They kind of pass each other as Jey is getting ready for his Intercontinental title defense. Against a very interesting opponent in the New Day's Xavier Woods. And, well, this was a little bit slow to start. Eventually, it did really get going. Especially with this Xavier Woods trying to cut corners to win, which definitely an interesting little twist for him. Eventually, Xavier Woods goes for a super kick. Jey Uso catches it, knocks him down with a spear, hits an Uso splash for the victory. While not the most dynamic of matches, it really got the point across on how serious Xavier Woods is about rising up the card, which is always good. I like that. But then something interesting happens. Post-match, you see Jey Uso and Kofi Kingston kind of embrace. And as Jey Uso extends his hand for a handshake with Woods, Woods ignores him, walks out of the ring. Kofi follows him. They're both on the ramp, talking. Braun Breaker hitting Jey Uso with a big spear. And as this beatdown happens, Kofi and Woods are kind of having the same conversation Jimmy and Roman were at Bad Blood when the Bloodline was beaten down on Cody. Now, Woods obviously wanted to walk off, but Cody got in the ring himself, tried to get Braun Breaker off of Jey Uso, hits him with a spear. Kofi then rolls to the outside. Woods is checking on him. Braun Breaker then himself rolls to the outside. On the opposite end of the ring, runs around. It's a big old super spear on Woods. Then gets back in the ring. Jimmy tries to hit a spear himself. Braun Breaker gets out of the way. It's a big old running spear to Jey. And then post that, Braun Breaker picks up the Intercontinental title, holds it over his head for a minute, drops it down. Now, it does seem like Braun Breaker is turning back heel, which definitely interesting from what happened last week, in which he kind of turned babyface and then got in the face of Gunther, which I would have loved to see that match. I think eventually we will, but I understand why Braun would want his Intercontinental title back. So I'm okay with this. We then see a kind of projected Rhea Ripley promo. Like, she's nowhere really backstage, but she's in front of a green screen, if you will. With Rhea pretty much saying, I should have known, Liv, I should have known you'd weasel your way out of this match. You bring Raquel in, and it would have been better if you didn't get caught, but you only delayed the inevitable. There was more said, but I didn't quite catch it. But it does look like this Liv Rhea Ripley feud is going to continue, which I don't know if I want it to. But I think that's also the issue with Raw really not having many contenders for either Liv or Rhea if she would have won. So I guess this is going to be a feud that extends for a little while longer. We then get another tease of the War Raiders return, in which I'm super hyped about that. I miss Eric and Ivar as a tag team. As much as I've liked Ivar's singles run, which was super underrated, I do miss War Raiders. They were my favorite tag team for a while, man. Glad they're back. Next, we have something very interesting. It wasn't really an ad, but it was like a, if you can, however you can help the hurricane relief, here's how you can contact the Red Cross. Very nice. Love that WWE does this. Then we kind of get a Braun Breaker interview. Interviewer walks up and asks, "No, what happened there? It did seem like you were respecting Jey Uso last week, but now you're doing this. What gives?" Braun then kind of just looks at her, walks off. So, for now, we don't get an explanation. But I think in the near future, we will. So, sit tight. I think we're going to get a good one. And then we get to the worst part of Bad Blood, which was the recap of the Crown Jewel Championship announcement, which I could honestly live without. Watch my Bad Blood review for exactly why. Then we see Cody Rhodes in the back. Then the feed kind of cuts, in which I thought, oh, we got some Wyatt 6 stuff going on. Not really. Apparently it was just... It was something technological happening? I don't know. Weird. Anyway. Then we see a video recap of the Sheamus Pete Dunne feud, in which that needs to end. That needs to be done. Then we see Miz in the locker room talking with Karrion Kross, with Miz saying to Kross, "I didn't do this so I can join Final Testament. I did what I did for me." Then in walks R-Truth, with Truth saying, "Look, Miz, I know you're mad at me for some reason. I know I'm not in Judgment Day anymore. So I forgive you for what you did last week." Then Miz just kind of pops a gasket a little. And he says, "Look, I did what I did. Awesome Truth is done." And then Kross kind of leans over Miz's shoulder and says, "If you don't do something about this now, you'll be doing this forever." Truth then replies to Miz saying, "Look, I talked to Adam Pearce. I'm going to get us a match. Get this thing straight. Miz then turns to R-Truth, says, "You really want a match? Alright, how about this? How about it's you versus me next week?" So, yeah, this is, this Miz R-Truth feud. Not something I'm definitely surprised we're going this way. Yeah, Miz is definitely better as a heel, though. We then go to our technically second match of the night, and it's a good old-fashioned Donnybrook match between Sheamus and Pete Dunne. And honestly, this was pretty much a plunder match, bringing in the shillelagh, the cricket bats. Sheamus at one point does a white noise off of a couple of whiskey barrels, I'm going to assume, through a table, which that spot was absolutely gnarly. Then Pete Dunne goes over to like the bar area that was set up, goes into the drawer, hits Sheamus with the actual drawer. Then in the drawer was a zip tie, or at least a couple of zip ties. He then zip ties Sheamus's arms behind his back, which that's definitely interesting. Pete Dunne gets some good shots in, then kind of from out of nowhere, Sheamus with a big old bro kick to pick up the win. He even pins him with his arms tied behind his back, which honestly, that's pretty good on Sheamus. I hope this is the end of this feud. It feels kind of uninspired. And while this match was great, I feel like this needed more importance put on it, and maybe Pete Dunne winning a match. I don't know. Then we go to backstage to a Cody Rhodes interview, saying, "Look, I can't speculate on anything," talking about fan footage shown after Bad Blood of Kevin Owens attacking him. Saying he can't speculate on anything, but we're going to talk about it on SmackDown later tonight. And about later on tonight, I'm going to find out what it takes to be the Crown Jewel champion. He then walks away from the interviewer, stopped, and he runs into Sami Zayn, a bit of an ally of his. And Sami says, "Look, I know I got a hill to climb, but I want to be the one to face you at Crown Jewel." Cody then says, "You're gonna you shocked the world once at WrestleMania. Go do it again. I'd like nothing more than to face you." And they shake on it. Yeah, at that point, I pretty much knew Sami Zayn was done. As much as I would have liked to see that match, I'm all in for Gunther versus Cody. This match has been a long time coming for me. Then we get a little video recap of the last Monster Standing match, which I think is my match of the year. Maybe. We'll see. Then we see the Judgment Day, which is, for right now, it's Liv, Raquel Rodriguez. I think they renamed her back to Raquel Gonzalez, which is very interesting, and Dominic Mysterio. So they arrive in the back, driving an SUV. They all get out. Interviewer comes in, pretty much goes right to Liv, who says, "You want to comment?" "Yes, last night, Saturday, I technically lost, but I still have my title. I have my man, And now I have Raquel. And I am moving on for Maria to focus on Nia at Crown Jewel. And that's all I got to say about that. So we're going to roll out. So that they all get back in the SUV and they drive out of the arena. Which, I don't know. It definitely holds with Liv's character to do something like this. But I feel like the women's champion should have some more presence on Raw. Then we cut to Adam Pearce's office. And he has the NXT general manager in there. I forget her name. It's the Rock's daughter, I believe. They're talking about what's coming down the line. Then former NXT champion Ethan Page walks in. And yes, it's that Ethan Page. Saying, look, Punk cost me my title last Tuesday. I've had a chat with my lawyers, and I'm ready to correct this. So Pierce points out, look, I appreciate you wanting to come here for a course correct, but Ava's right here. Ethan Page says, you've come all the way to St. Louis to just talk to the Raw GM? Ava then says, look, I'm off the clock right now. We gotta do some things. Then in walks Sexy Red, Ava and her hug, and then they just start twerking. I don't know. Kind of a waste of time, but it's interesting to see NXT talent on main roster stuff. It's interesting. Then we get to this unholy abomination as it's 10-woman tag match. You got the Unholy Union, that's Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. The full force of the Pure Fusion Collective, so that's Sonya Deville, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe Stark, taking on Natalya, Katana Chance, Kaden Carter, Lyra Valkyria, and Zelina Vega. And yeah, this was the, we forgot to put a women's match on here. Let's get all of these people in here. And it was not entertaining at all. I'm sorry. And Lyra wins via the leg drop. Not even her finisher. Just weird middle rope leg drop for the win for her team. We then get a hype video for Gunther versus Sami Zayn, our main event. We then get another video, Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair promo, saying to Damage Control that they cannot wait to face y'all. Give you the credit. Io, you caught me sleeping when we last faced. But if you're thinking that Damage Control can take back over, I got another thing coming for you. Let's run this all back for the tag titles. So hyping that match up for next week. That should be fun. We then go for our main event. And it's for the World Heavyweight Championship as Sami Zayn takes on Gunther. And this match was everything it could be and more. I think it eclipses their WrestleMania match for the Intercontinental title. Like, you could just tell they were just ready to tear each other apart. Multiple times, Sami Zayn tried for the Blue Thunder Bomb, only for Gunther to shift his weight. Eventually, he does get it, only for a 2 count. Sami Zayn stays on Gunther for a while. Hits a Helluva Kick while Gunther is laying across the top of the barricade on the outside. Tries to get Gunther back in the ring. Can't, so he resets the 10 count. Eventually getting him back in. Hitting one more, going for one more Helluva Kick. But Gunther comes right out of the corner with a big old clothesline. Gunther goes for his powerbomb, but that gets blocked into a roll-up. Only for a 2. Immediately with the Gunther drop kick. Hitting a powerbomb, only getting 1. Hitting a clothesline into a powerbomb for a 1. Yeah, for a 1 count. And you can see Gunther, after the kick out, right over Sami Zayn's shoulder. A look of shock on his face. But eventually, Gunther gets his act back together. Gets Sami in a sleeper hold. Sami fades for a minute. Referee comes over. Grabs his wrist. It stays up. Sami fights out for a little. But eventually, Gunther really locks in the sleeper hold for the submission win and the title retention. And let me tell you, I am so happy Gunther won this clean. He has his win back over Sami Zayn. And my joy of joys, no Bill Goldberg. Because I've been seeing a lot of fans fantasy booking Bill Goldberg costing Gunther that match, which I don't think fits Sami Zayn at all, and I really don't want to see a Bill Goldberg match. So, as Gunther is celebrating, he's up on the ramp. Cody Rhodes then comes out. They have their face off as the screen fades to black. So, yeah, definitely, we're on the road to Crown Jewel. Gonna be an interesting road, to say the least. And, yeah, we'll see where this all goes. Next up, for the first time in a very long time, I do apologize for that, we have AEW Dynamite, but this time on a Tuesday. It is titled Tuesday, as AEW got bumped from their usual spot by Major League Baseball. So, yeah, it's going to be on Tuesday this week. We then start with a weird Jon Moxley promo in which I've pretty much gone back and looked at all those, and, you know, this is pretty much the same bop he's been doing for a while, about talking about Danielson turning to a dark side to beat him, saying one day you'll understand. So, yeah, Mox definitely has plans for Wrestle Dream. We then cut to a Bryan Danielson promo with him saying Claudio has been spreading lies to everyone that it's going to be my last night here on Dynamite. It's definitely not going to be. Claudio, I've been a supporter of yours for the last 20 years. But tonight, I'm not going to be in your corner, and I'm going to kick your head off. So, yeah, fighting words from Bryan Danielson, our AEW World Champion. We then get Darby Allin out. He's very much heated. Gets on the microphone. Pretty much says, let's stop beating around the bush. Brody King, you get out here. So then Brody King comes out. Picks up a microphone. Darby then starts. I'm so excited it was you that answered my challenge. But I know what you're doing. I've we've had so much history going back to before AEW, talking, us sharing a hotel room, talking about the next steps, getting on national TV. And ever since I signed with AEW, I've called you every week so we can talk about it. And you were over in ROH, which was not in the best time. It was before Tony Khan bought it. And then ROH shut down, so you were out of a job. So then I went to Tony Khan and asked him to hire you. And I know you don't take this for granted, but I know you also want my spot. I am the face of AEW. I was never supposed to make it in wrestling, but I did. Then Brody King chimes up. He says, it's obvious. You have what I want. But you do take this for granted. You were planning on climbing Mount Everest, and maybe we weren't going to see you ever again. And someone was going to have to step up as the face of the company. Darby, you obviously need to save someone to save you from yourself. They then get in each other's faces for a minute. Darby then slaps Brody King. Brody King with a massive elbow into the sleeper. And like, big guys doing sleepers. I'm into it. Darby eventually gets out with the help of a rock. Where did that come from? Anyway, so Darby with a bunch of shots with the rock. If you smell. Officials then come down, break it up, push people into the corners. And so saving it for Wrestle Dream. This match is definitely going to be interesting, and there is some background to it, which I do like. We then get an interview from Lance Archer / Jake the Snake, as it's revealed, thanks to Don Callis, that Jake the Snake and Don Callis have made a talent exchange, with Lance Archer going to the Don Callis family. So, Archer and Don Callis then walk off. And then the interviewer turns to Jake the Snake. He asks, well, who did you get in return? Jake the Snake then says, hey, you don't like surprises? So do I. So we're going to see that in a little bit. Lance Archer and the family. I think that is a really good fit. He is also a very big rival of Mr. Will Ospreay's from New Japan. So, that's going to be fun. Then we cut to outside. Daniel Garcia is walking into the arena. Interviewer asks him about his status with the company. He says, I'd like to answer that here and now, but I think I need to go in there and tell everybody myself. So, Daniel Garcia, big announcement. That's going to be good. We then finally make it to our first match of the evening, in which, really, as we have Hologram taking on Commander. And if you all remember the first couple matches of Will Ospreay versus Ricochet a couple years ago, this was that on steroids. Like, this was pretty much all the flippy stuff you can handle, including a moment where Hologram was going for a springboard something. Commander then meets him on a springboard and power bombs him, which that was gnarly. But Hologram kicks out, whiffs on a 450. Commander with the rope walk moonsault. only for a 2 count. Komander looks for a Hurricane Rana. Hologram blocks it into an airplane spin. Sit out powerbomb for the win. But then something interesting happens. Jake the Snake Roberts then appears on the stage. Then from behind, Roosh, the Beast Mortis, and Dralistico attack Hologram and Komander. They throw them out of the ring. And you see the reformation of LFI. So Roosh, Dralistico, Mortis, and then you see on the stage Jake the Snake holding his fist up. So it does look like we are getting Jake the Snake managing LFI. I think that could be interesting. We then go to a video recap of Jericho's challenge to Mark Briscoe, including Jericho bringing up Mark's brother Jay. May he rest in peace. We then go to a Mark Briscoe interview, and he is all business. He is serious as heck when he says, Jericho, you messed up. You didn't have to take it there. It's not about this title anymore. I'm gonna hurt you. Really bad. So, yeah, definitely some good motivation from Mark Briscoe. I don't know what to call it. It's makes the ROH title not feel important. Anyway, then we cut to the ring for a Daniel Garcia promo, who's saying, I feel good to be out here tonight. While I was sitting at home, I've definitely missed this. I want to thank Tony Khan for this time. And while I was sitting at home, I had time to think, what is the best course of action for me? It wasn't an easy choice, and I may not give the most popular answer, but I never wanted to be the guy that just disappeared. I want to let you know what I'm going to do, and I can only do what I want because I'm the best wrestler, one of the best wrestlers in here, and it's only right where the best wrestle. So he's pretty much confirmed he's signed to AEW. He continues, and this is not going to be the same Garcia who's getting bullied a bit in the back. And this version of Garcia is going to start changing things here. And a shout to everyone who has gold. I'm coming for you. So, Daniel Garcia setting his sights on the future. I like that. We then get an update on the Swerve Strickland situation as he posts the recent happenings with MVP and Shelton Benjamin and Prince Nana, along with workout videos from Swerve that also involve EJ and Duca, which that's his first time on AEW TV. Definitely good to see him getting some time. We then get MVP and Shelton Benjamin who are backstage watching this video. As it's revealed, Swerve will be back at Wrestle Dream. Now, does that mean we're going to get a Swerve match? Or is this going to be a, Hurt Business trying to sign Swerve? He denies, and then Lashley gets involved? Either way, I'm all for it. We then get an interview from Mercedes Moné saying everyone's been tweeting me, say I don't respect my opponent. I have all respect to her. And it's not the first time I dethroned a queen, and won't be the last. We then see Daniel Garcia celebrating in the back with some other wrestlers, which definitely a very nice moment for Garcia. We then get a fatal 4-way where the winner gets Mariah May at Wrestle Dream. Our combatants, we got Willow Nightingale, Jamie Hayter, Saraya, and Nyla Rose. Now, here's what was interesting. Originally, it was just going to be Willow versus Dr. Britt Baker. However, it was revealed Dr. Baker came down with something. She was sick, so she called out. Which, I'm going to say this, nice work by Tony Khan for putting the health and well-being of your talent first. And this match was a cluster, you know what. You know, at first we had Nyla Rose and Willow teaming up for a little bit. Saraya then kind of gets involved a little. Nyla Rose was near the end was looking to go for a flying whatever. Gets pushed off the top rope. Jamie Hayter then on the outside gets a chair. Looks to hit Saraya. Instead gets Harley Cameron. Keeps hunting down Saraya until Penelope Ford, of all people, comes out, attacks Hayter, and then Ford leads Hayter out of the ring area. Willow Nightingale with the world's strongest slam into a neck breaker. Nyla Rose gets pushed from the top rope into a table. Saraya with the rampage. I don't know what else to call it because they won't give it a name. Only for a 2 count. Then Harley Cameron tries to get another table in the ring. Completely struggles. Eventually she does get involved, like directly in the match, which is definitely an interesting choice. Then Willow Nightingale comes in, hits a couple of kicks. Big old power bomb. Only for a 2 count. Then she hits a Death Valley driver through the table on the side, which was eventually set up by Saraya to pick up the win. And as Willow is celebrating up the ramp, Mariah May attacks Willow because she was sitting on commentary, hitting a couple of belt shots. So, maybe not the biggest match for the women's division, but I am just glad Willow is getting another shot. We then go backstage with a Learning Tree promo with Big Bill starting out saying, people who need lessons the most want them the least. We're talking about Rocky Romero. So Jericho leads his group to the outside, finding Rocky Romero, saying, Rocky kind of squares up a little bit. Jericho then says, now is not the time to fight. Now is time for learning. And we're trying to help you with your self-esteem issues. Ever since you've joined the conglomeration, after it started, you save your friends all the time while Kyle and Orange Cassidy celebrate. Let's face it, you're the conglomeration's lackey. Rocky Romero then says, I'm no one's lackey. Then Jericho says, alright, let's see what you can do. Brian Keith stays behind saying, you ought to respect Chris Jericho. Rocky then replies, or what? Keith? Or else? Kind of a vague threat, but more than understandable. We then get this very interesting matchup as we got Switchblade Jay White making his in-ring return against Cody Chun, a enhancement talent. Well, for an enhancement talent, he didn't do too bad. He did get a couple of moves in, but it was not enough for Jay White as he hits the Uranagi into the Blade Runner for the win. And Jay goes to the corner, picks up a microphone, says, Hangman, I told you one of the last two men who knocked me off my path. Luckily, last week I made it clear. What are you going to do about it? I hope you're coming out soon because I meddled in your business. Well, I say that's perfect. It's exactly what I want. You versus me one more time. And it's time to put an end to you. This new you've been showing. Then, after I'm done with you, I'm going to move on to some gold. And Hangman, it's going to start with you at Wrestle Dream. So, nice, clear promo to set up a match, which, little golf clap for AEW. We then see Hook backstage. He's kind of with a cameraman saying, you know why I'm here. Whoever jumped him, I'm going to take care of. Then Kip Sabian kind of backs into Hook. They kind of turn around cartoon style like, ugh. With Hook saying, what the heck is wrong with you, man? Kip Sabian then says, look, I'm going to be around here all night. I'm running away from Brian Cage. So Kip then runs the other way. Brian Cage then walks in. He says, hey, Hook, have you seen Kip? Hook says, nope. But is there something you want to say to me? Oh, it's not Brian Cage. It's Christian Cage. My mistake. Cage then reveals, look, clearly we're both family men. I have sympathy for you in your situation. As Kill Switch has been out for a while. Christian and his group then walk off, with Hook standing there a little mad. We then get at least the start of a Mariah May interview, but Willow with a big old pounce to Miss May. She then takes over the interview, who says, I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Tonight, I beat 3 former world champions. Saturday, I'm going to make Mariah May a former world champion. So, nice, clear goal for Willow. Next up, we got our only title match on the card, as it's for the AEW TBS title and the New Japan Strong Women's title, as Mercedes Moné takes on Emi Sakura, making her AEW return. And this match was, I think, Mercedes' best match in AEW. Mariah May. Emi Sakura, definitely a nice foil for Moné, who eventually wins via the Statement Maker, which is a submission. Post-match, Mercedes Moné and Camille have a beatdown on Emi. And who makes the save? It's Chris Statlander. who tries to get Camille with a big boot. Monet then slides Camille out of the ring to save her. So, I think at some point we're going to get a tag match between these four. And then I was hoping at Wrestle Dream we were going to get Monet versus Statlander. Although it seems like we are getting something a bit more long term. We then get cut to backstage for at least the start of an interview with Private Party. But Stokely Hathaway walks in and says, I've been watching you for the past couple of weeks, and at All Out, you took out the competition, but you've been missing one thing. A guiding hand for you to reach your goals. So how about this? Private Party and me set for Wrestle Dream. Then Mark Quinn says to him, where were you when you were struggling? You're jumping on the train when we're the number one contenders. Thanks, but no thanks. Stokely then says, don't say I didn't warn you. Cassidy then gets on the microphone and says, we don't want this. We need this. We will beat you and be the next tag team champions. Then after the match, we're going to throw a party that everyone is invited to. Yeah, Private Party is probably going to lose this weekend. Sorry, boys. You're not doing it. We then go to an in-ring interview with Mr. Will Ospreay. I don't know why I did finger guns. Anyway, with Tony Schiavone bringing up how it looks like Don Callis sent out Takeshita to prove a point. Ospreay replies, I would love to say that you're lying, but everything is adding up. I'm not looking past Ricochet, and I'm moving on. Now we are equals because of Takeshita, and he doesn't do anything without Don Callis. So Callis, why don't you come out here so we can have a chat? We then get the brown note for Don Callis' entrance. He comes out. Don Callis in the ring. Goes for a hug on Will Ospreay. Ospreay just puts a hand to his chest. Oh, Don's heart at that point looks like it broke. Don Callis then reveals, I got something to say. Last week was difficult for me. I hate to see you unhappy, but we got so many wins together. Then Ospreay replies, dude, you gotta stop talking about this year and focus on last week. Did you send Takeshita out to attack me? Don Callis then kind of quickly replies, kid, you're asking the wrong questions. Before he can continue, Ospreay says, it's an easy answer. Yes or no. Tell me the truth. Don Callis is struggling. He's holding his head. Then he comes up. Yes, I did send him. But it was more out of frustration than anything. To show you who makes these decisions in this family. And you were this close to winning the tag titles, but you were too weak to win. Will Ospreay then says, are you having a laugh? I got you the international title. If you didn't stick your nose in my business, we would have had the tag titles. You're a right shit, bruv. I'm the best in the world. Don Callis then replies, best in the world? I had the best wrestler on the planet, and I threw him out for you. And maybe it's time I throw out the best wrestler in the world one more time. Ospreay then gets back on the microphone and says, "You are everything everyone warned me about. I am done with the Don Callis family." Callis then, with a big old slap to Ospreay, Ospreay pushes Callis into the corner. This brings out Konosuke Takeshita, and they brawl for a little bit. Then Kyle Fletcher comes out, pulls Takeshita off of Will Ospreay. Then he and Ospreay kind of have a little talk for a minute. Then Takeshita with a big old suplex. Don Callis family has the advantage. Then Callis presents Fletcher with the usual Don Callis weapon, the screwdriver. Fletcher is looking at it, looking at Ospreay, and then he just walks off out of the ring. Ospreay tries fighting back, but then a handful of hair by Don Callis. Massive elbow strike by Takeshita. Then out to make the save is Ricochet, hitting a clothesline on Takeshita, going for a big kick on Don Callis, whiffs, and Don Callis escapes. So, yeah, definitely an interesting little storyline here with Ospreay and the family. Gonna be interesting to see how this finishes out. Then we get a Top Flight promo backstage where they're saying, "Look, we be backing up. We're pissed off. We're better than any of the other teams we saw in that match. We beat the Young Bucks." And then Action Andretti chimes in and says, "Look, you guys are clearly not fired up enough. Let's go. Let's get it." Then Layla Gray says, "No, dude, you're our problem. We're trying to do what's best for us, yet you screwed us." Action Andretti then replies, "It's gonna go cost us if we don't fix what's going on." Action Andretti runs one way. Dante Martin and Layla Gray walk the other, while Darius stands in the middle. Top Flight breakup. I don't really want this, but at least it's something with these guys. We then get a backstage promo with Jack Perry saying, "Shibata, you're the embodiment of fighting spirit. You're still one of the best on the planet. But let's have a conversation in violence at Wrestle Dream. Will you be willing to sacrifice that much? You definitely deserve to be champion, but are you willing to take it? How about you come and take it from me?" Nice little hype for Jack Perry. That match against Shibata is going to be awesome. Might steal the entire show, honestly. And then we got our main event as Pac and Claudio Castagnoli, 2/3 of the Trios champions, take on the AEW World Champion Bryan Danielson and the third member of the Trios champions, Wheeler Yuta. And honestly, this started off really, really fast. It did slow down kind of near the middle, especially with Claudio not wanting to fight Yuta, in which definitely interesting. Eventually, he does get the nerve, hits a neutralizer on the outside to Bryan, which that was gnarly. cornering Yuta for a bit. Eventually, Danielson does get back in. And just pretty much going after everybody. With a bunch of drop kicks, some chops. Tries for a power bomb, but that gets blocked with a run off the top. And Danielson goes for his bow and arrow stomps, which is interesting, in which Pac breaks it up. He goes for a suplex. Danielson gets him down for the big stomps, in which Claudio breaks that up. Goes for the neutralizer, gets blocked, roll up for a 2. Danielson with the blue psycho knee. Before he can make the pin, out comes Jon Moxley and Maria Shafir to ringside. Pac with Claudio with a gigantic uppercut, only getting a 2. Tag into Pac, who hits a 450 for a 2. Then Maria Shafir gets up on the apron to distract the referee. And then Pac gets the little hammer from the ring bell that, ding, 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 starts matches. Looks to hit Bryan with it as Claudio's holding him. Yuta takes the hammer out of his hand. Big old kick to him. Danielson then gets Claudio in the label lock for the submission victory and the win for his team. Post-match, we then see Bryan Danielson and Moxley brawling out up the ramp to the back. Then we briefly see Shafir taking out Yuta. Danielson and Mox, we see brawling in a garage-looking area. Claudio and Pac then join in on the attack on Yuta. Pac has his little hammer again, just lighting up Yuta's chest. Danielson and Mox then brawl back into the arena, in which Danielson fights off everybody, standing right in front of Yuta. So, I know a lot of people, this match was absolutely excellent. This show was a tad bit off. I can't really explain why I have an issue with this show, but it's something that's bugging me right now. I'm not sure what it is. And I'm going to make a little bold prediction here. I don't think Shane McMahon is going to be involved in this story. I think the main boss of the new Blackpool Combat Club is going to be Wheeler Yuta. And he's going to turn on Danielson at Wrestle Dream, which might possibly cost him the title, in which, we'll see. So that was AEW Title Tuesday. We then wrap it up with NWA Power, as it's time for part 2 of NWA 76. Start off with a little hype video for the NWA Women's title match, which is our main event. But we start off with something a little interesting. A Liberty Bell Brawl. That is a tongue twister. Basically, you have 2 teams of 2. So, normal tag rules. Ladder match rules, where the guy going up has to ring the bell 3 consecutive times to win. Our competitors, Damage and Carnage of BFT, and the Immortals on the other side. That's Odin's Son and Kratos. And this, to start off, Kratos with a big dive to the outside to BFT before the bell rings. Eventually they all get back in the ring. Bell rings and it's pretty much just a big old hoss fight. and I would not have it any other way. Plenty of ladder shots, including to Stevens, which haven't seen him bump in a while. Odinson with a big old pounce, which was awesome. Kratos with a falcon arrow off the middle rope. Kratos then goes up, rings the bell once, kind of breaks the bell, but does the motion 2 more times anyway for the win. Although it is a little controversial, but we'll get back to that. Next up, we got a backstage interview from Father James Mitchell, who might be one of my favorite managers of all time. Pretty much says, for 1 year, Max allowed you, that's Kenzie, to live a lie. And this comes to a stop tonight. Max is going to destroy you, and I hope you flew your parents in and gave them front row seats to your destruction. Max is going to rip you limb from limb and take your title and embarrass you in front of the world. So, definitely an interesting way to go for Max the Impaler. We'll see that in our main event. Next match, though, we get our first of 2 title matches, as it's for the vacant NWA National title. We have Mr. Big Strong Mims, Brian Idol, Burchill, the former Paul Burchill, and Carson Drake. Now, apparently this was elimination rules, which is very good. Yeah, definitely really good back and forth between all these guys. Where after a big old DDT from Burchill, Idol gets eliminated first. The 3 other competitors then go at it for a little while. Geese then gets on the apron to have a talk with Carson Drake, who then holds Burchill so that Mims can throw the hard punch inherited from Tyrus to eliminate Burchill. Then we see Geese back up on the apron, summoning Drake over. They talk for a minute. Geese then hands Drake his credit card. They shake hands. Drake then fakes like a cramp or whatever. So he's like, oh, my leg. Falls over. Mims with the cover. 1, 2, 3. So your winner and new national champion, Mims. I'm going to say this. As much as I'm disappointed for this weird finish, it does fit the characters of both Drake and Mims. Although it does seem like Mims was a little disappointed. Then he just celebrated with the title. Which, yeah, I'm definitely for more unique finishes. I would have liked to see Mims win clean, though. Anyway, next we go backstage for a Kenzie Page interview, saying, nope, fear is not a factor for me. Everyone else cowers at the feet of Max. But I've watched patriarchies die. I fear nothing. I need no one else. And I have the greatest love of my life right here, the women's title. So, yeah, nice easy promo from Kenzie Page. Definitely going to be a big test for her title run. As we move into our main event, it's for the NWA Women's title, as Max the Impaler challenges Kenzie Page. And for a good portion of this matchup, this was the Max the Impaler show. At one point, Max was going for a top rope move. Paige stops her, gets a gigantic power bomb. Tries to take Max the Impaler down. Takes a minute. Goes for the Kenzie Cutter. Gets caught. Max with the world's strongest slam into a senton, only for a 2. Kenzie then gets up, hits a big old super kick, misses on the big splash. It's an enziguri. James Mitchell then gets up on the apron to distract Kenzie. Max then crashes into James Mitchell by mistake. Kenzie Page with 3 Kenzie Cutters in a row to pick up the win and retain her title. Then during the last few minutes of the match, we see Salvation, aka Sal the Pal, come out and check on James Mitchell. So it does look like this feud has a bit of an ending. Was it the greatest match in the world? Absolutely not. Was it an entertaining fight that I feel like a lot of people should go see? Absolutely. Definitely an interesting week of pro wrestling, which continues on later tonight with WWE SmackDown and AEW Rampage, which I'm going to cover on Monday. But then next week is actually the start of my birthday week. My birthday is the 19th on Saturday. So here's what my plan is going to be. I'm not going to be really watching much wrestling this week because I want to go out and celebrate, see my family, whatever. So I think I'm going to take a little bit of a wrestling break. However, I think on Wednesday, I'm going to give you a different kind of video. A video I've done for WWE. Now I think it's AEW's turn, where I try to come up with some ideas to get more eyes on AEW. So that's going to be coming along next week. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you have a nice week. Till next time, happy wrestling, everybody. Peace.